Welcome back to Game Talk from the Bench. I'm your host, Drew Barreto, and today I'm here with my co-host, my uncle, Andrew Barreto. Today we're talking NFL. We're talking some of the hottest teams in the league. Talk about some old friends that returned to their former teams and came out of retirement. In the NBA, we'll talk about, the Thunder, the Spurs. We'll talk about the NBA Cup that's currently going on. The championship is currently in play right now. We'll update you guys about that. And the MLB free agency is going on, so we'll cover that as well. But starting us off, Week 15 NFL. I mean, like we said, we've been saying playoffs are coming down to the wire. Yeah, each game is big. Thursday night was a big game for the Bucks. And they sold bad. Lost 29-28. Falcons kicked the game-winning field goal. Bucks looked like they were gonna be done for in the playoffs, right? Because they have the shot to win the division, but they lost, and it was bad. Um, Defense just couldn't. Kyle Pitts had a historic performance for fantasy people. Too bad he was on my bench. But yeah,
Whoa.
tough loss
Okay.
for the Bucks.
Yeah, no, it was Kirk Cousins. He has a little left in his leg still, in his arm, I should say, and yeah, they had a comeback here and spoiled any Bucks chances of trying to just gain a little ground in that at the South. Um, and yeah, we'll talk about the Panthers later, but yeah, they're tied up seven wins, seven losses for both of them.
Yeah, and then obviously we talked about the Eagles. They got right against the Raiders. They won 31-0. We're not gonna talk about that. Ravens shut out the Bengals, which I was like, wow. We talked about Lamar needed to play good. Burrow played terrible. We won't get into it. We're gonna talk to some more of the bigger games. Texans dominated 140-20 over the Cardinals. Chargers Chiefs, right? There's gonna be an interesting matchup, right? Because Chiefs they were still in the playoff hunt. Still trying to fight to stay alive. Chargers obviously dealing with all the backups on the offensive line. Herbert's got the fractured left hand. Didn't know how this was gonna go. They end up squeaking out the win, 16-13. But the biggest news that came out of this game wasn't the fact that the Chiefs got eliminated from the playoffs. It was that Patrick Mahomes tore his ACL. He's out the rest of the year, and I believe his status to start next season is up in the air as well. I mean, that is
Wow.
big news. Um, for
Yeah,
arguably the greatest quarterback in the league right now.
big news, and their season gets worse, right? I mean, that officially eliminated from playoffs. There will be no Mahomes or Travis Kelsey in the playoffs for the first time, right? In a very long,
It's gonna
a
be a
decade or so.
2017. I want to say no, 2016 might have been the last year where Mahomes wasn't the quarterback for the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah,
it's
it's going to be
almost
different.
10 years.
Yeah, geez, man. Hey, all runs come to an end, and they were pretty dominant during that time. And Mahomes, like you said, is one of the best quarterbacks to put on that Chiefs jersey, and just the whole year in general was just they it was just all these other teams are getting better. We'll talk about it later. The Patriots, the Bills, and sooner or later they were coming for the Chiefs, and a lot of teams were, and so now they have the E next to their ESPN standings. They have the E for eliminated, so they won't be around.
Yeah, and that's honestly good news for the Bills because every time the Bills face the
Yeah,
Chiefs in the playoffs, it's bad news to the Bills. But speaking of the Bills, they got a big win over the Patriots. The Patriots did beat the Bills early in the year, and the Patriots started off this game hot. They were up 21-0 at one point. It looked like it's gonna be a total domination. Drake May had two rush touchdowns in the first half. And then, a lot of people were saying, I haven't said this. Many people have been saying the Patriots. They've played a bunch of easy teams. You look at the schedules. Yeah, they played some pretty easy teams. However, they did beat the Bills though, early in the year. But they lost this one. The offense died out after the first half. It died out until the fourth quarter. And they gave the Bills a shot to win the game. The Bills just took the opportunity, put up enough points, and ultimately got the big 35-31 win. However, the Patriots do still hold the division lead. But yeah, a little bit of a down game from Drake May. 155 passing yards, one INT. Like I said, he did have two rushing touchdowns though. Um, Trayvon Henderson though, the rookie, 148 yards, two touchdowns. He was great. James Cook was great. Um, so yeah, the division still, Bills could still win the division. However, both those
yeah,
teams are going to be in the playoffs. But big one for the Bills.
yeah. Patriots haven't sewed that up yet. It's like you said, Bills could still they have a chance. They won three in a row, and they're finding ways to win games. They were down. and I actually stopped watching that and was just thinking, oh, that's going to be over. Patriots are, at that point, like you said, what was it, 21 points they were up, and yeah, just don't count out Josh Allen right now and the Bills. So they three wins in a row, and looking to they're on the heels of the Patriots for that division.
They definitely are. And then Bears dominated the Browns. Sure, had a really bad game. We won't talk about that. We talk about the Panthers, right? Panthers, I believe, still hold the division lead. However, Saints are playing upset. They beat last week. They beat the Bucks. This week
Well,
they upset the Panthers.
yeah.
Um, Tyler Show is winning them games. He had
Does,
272 yards and touchdowns. He might be their guy. He might be their guy. They're
yeah.
starting. They're in back-to-back wins. Um,
Doesn't he know he's ruining the chances for their top draft pick here? That he's winning.
but you know what? I don't think the Saints would be mad if he's winning games and he's playing well. Then they're gonna be like, okay, well, our second round rookie quarterback's gonna
Yeah.
be our guy for the future. Um, so yeah, I
It's
mean, they're
good
playing
to
upset.
see.
The
Yeah, good to
ability
see the Bucks. Just like we were talking about the Bucks, they had a chance to go up in the division, or actually the Panthers did as well. But you figure they have the Saints, and maybe they would be 8-7 at the end of the day. And like you
Saints are
said, the
playing
quarterback
upset.
shocks them, and he played upset and got the victory over the Panthers. So now they're tied to Bucks and the Panthers tie at top of the NFC South. So that'd be interesting.
Yeah, and then another thing. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Oh, the Panthers. Talk about the Panthers. Panthers beat the Rams a couple weeks ago, and then they lose both games to the Saints. I mean, it's just they're one unpredictable team. Who knows? They'll probably win.
Yeah.
We'll see who they play next week. But yeah, next big game, Rams Lions. It was a shootout. I thought the Lions were actually gonna win this game. However, Rams came back, ended up winning. However, Devontae Adams is questionable with a hamstring injury. We won't talk about that much. Next game I want to talk about Colts Seahawks. Philip Rivers, the 44-year-old, returned this game. Um, to say did he look rusty? Yes, he did. However, they were in the game. They did end up losing 18-16. However, though, he did lead them to a game-leading field goal. Except the Seahawks ended up getting a game-winning field goal. He had 120 yards, one touchdown. He did have an INT, but that was with like 10 seconds left.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that defense was Seattle, wasn't, even though, yeah, Phillip Rivers threw 120, and they he kind of kept them in the game, but Seattle slowly but surely was kicking field goals away,
yeah,
ultimately got the lead, and there wasn't um, enough offense for the Colts there to I think he threw an interception in the final drive. He was trying to mount a comeback. You picture that he's been sitting. Well, he hasn't been sitting on his couch. He's actually been coaching football. Philip Rivers, right? And so his first game back, and he's asked to have a comeback or see if he has a comeback in him, and he tried. He tried.
yeah,
It's just
he
like,
did.
yeah, he was a little rusty. You could tell. And so now I believe he's going to be starting quarterback for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I believe Anthony Richardson is coming off the IR, but yeah, I suspect Rivers will be the starting quarterback. Yeah, they definitely didn't seem like he had the muscles and stuff, but hopefully after a week of training and trying to get back into shape, maybe next week will look better. But yeah, definitely a little bit short game. They almost won though, but yeah. Um, Niners beat the Titans 37-24. Vikings were on a 2-game win streak, or maybe yeah, 2-game win streak. They beat the Cowboys. Although the Vikings themselves, I guess they're in the hunt, but yeah, Cowboys just defense just hasn't been good, especially even with the additions. I'm waiting on talk about one game. Steelers beat the Dolphins on Monday Night Football. Dolphins were I believe, on a 4-game win streak. And the Steelers ended up shutting that down. DK had a pretty good game. So did Darren Waller. Darren Waller 2 touchdowns. But the game I want to talk about is Packers Broncos.
Uh-oh.
Mainly because a lot went down in this game. For one, injury news: Packers lost Micah Parsons for the year.
Yeah.
ACL tear. Um, Tough blow, really tough blow, especially with the struggling defense. That gave up 34 points to the Broncos. Um, struggle games. Bo Nix had probably his best game this season: 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. He was great. Cortland Sutton, 7 receptions, 113 yards, a touchdown. Jordan Love had probably one of his worst games of the year: 276, 1 touchdown, 2 INTs. Josh Jacobs had 73 yards, 1 touchdown. They did also lose Christian Watson in this game. I do not know what I wasn't watching at the time. Um,
Yeah, I think
Broncos got the big win.
he went up for Jordan Love went for a bomb there, and Jordan Love went up, or not Jordan Love, but Watson went up to try to catch it. It came down awkwardly on his shoulder.
Mm.
I I think that was the issue. He was on the sideline after that, but I didn't pay attention if he came back in. But this game, it was pretty good. This was a really good game, and I know you'd mentioned, like, okay, the Broncos really haven't played anybody, and here's this game here against Jordan Love and the Super Bowl aspiration Packers, right? So we'll see how this goes. And it was a good game. Every time that the Packers would score, Bo Nix had an answer. Like you said, he played great, I thought, and he was just picking apart that what do you call it, the Packers defense. So it was a good game. They pulled it out, and you know, for me, 11 wins in a row, first seed in the AFC for the Broncos. I think they're for reals.
Yeah, I have been saying that they aren't real. I said this game would be their test. It was a good game. Bo Nix played great. Now I'm not gonna jump on the hype train. Still don't think they're gonna win the Super Bowl, but yeah, they definitely are. You know, one of the better teams in the AFC. Obviously they're the first, like you said, they're the first seed in the entire division. Um, but that defense, I mean, Jordan Love had a couple opportunities to try to tie this game. He ultimately fell short. Another thing I kept hearing was by the announcers was Christian Watson's not playing. He's the difference maker, and I thought to myself, they Christian Watson used to be on the IR all the time. They know how to win games without him. I thought that was the lame excuse that I heard from I think Tony Romo and Jim Nantz. Um, because Jordan Love just needed to escape the pocket once again. The brought Denver defense in the
Yeah,
in the clutch time, whatever you want to call it. They showed up. They brought pressure on Love. He didn't have time to throw. Also, he didn't do himself any favors by just sitting in the pocket. But yeah, no, Broncos definitely got the big win. Definitely proves that they're legit.
yeah.
But I
You
won't
you
hop.
you had
Yeah,
you
after
had
hating on them,
mentioned
I don't think I could just hop on the Broncos train.
not
I
yet.
can't do that. Not
No,
yet.
no,
Well,
no flowers. You're not.
I'll give
I
them
mean,
the
because
flowers,
if you
bro. I
look at
mean,
it,
yeah, they're
like
12 and 2, right?
look at the
Who
teams in
they
the
play next week?
conference. Like
They
who are
play
they losing to? Who are they losing to right now? You got the Patriots, Jaguars, Steelers, Chargers, Bills. I mean, it's kind of. I mean, I
do they
see
have
that
bye week
defense
next
and
week?
Bo Nix doing
I don't.
enough to possibly win a playoff game and get to that get close to the Super Bowl if anything.
Yeah, no, but yeah, I don't know. After hitting on them for the past probably like 6 weeks, I don't know if I could just instantly hop on the tree. If they beat the
Yeah,
Jags this upcoming week, maybe I will. Maybe I'll be like, okay, these are the guys to beat. Um, as of right now, I just think if you could just I want to say force Bo Nix to pass, even though he just had 300 yards, 4 touchdowns.
yeah,
I think if you force him to pass it though, and not play defense like the Packers, you'll be
yeah,
able to win the game. And if your offense can just do enough, but yeah, no, they definitely got the big win. They definitely they're getting the respect around the league, um, and they deserve it. Like I said, they're 12 and 2. They definitely deserve the recognition from all the people and the fans. But yeah, no, they're definitely playing better ball, but like I said, after hating on them for so long, I can't just instantly hop on the train.
yeah. You don't want
I gotta
to
try to defend myself a little bit.
you're now you're waiting till this next week. Now the
Yeah,
Jaguars game.
yeah,
Now you're
I'll
like,
give them.
okay, if they win that one, then now maybe you get a jersey. You start wearing the jersey around.
Yeah, maybe we'll
But
see, we'll see.
yeah, but that defense, like we were saying, the defense ended up coming up in the fourth quarter. They put the pressure on and made they forced Jordan Love into two interceptions. They got three sacks on him, and yeah, it looks like his quarterback rating was 77, and while Bo Nix outplayed him that game, and yeah, he had a great game. So yeah, they're the top seed, and yeah, at least I will give them the credit. And I'm a Raider fan, so I don't want to say the Broncos. Yeah, they're the best. Well, right now they are
Yeah,
in their conference, anyways.
yeah, they are. They obviously, I believe. I don't know. They don't have the division yet, just because I believe the Chargers at 10 wins, so they don't have the division locked up, but they're most
Right.
likely to win it. But yeah, no. Speaking of the Raiders, though, coach staff's got to be gone. You didn't put up a single point. You put up 75 total yards of offense. Pete
Yeah.
Carroll's got to go. Gino didn't play, but Gino's got to go. Yeah. Pete's got to go. I know I know this past offseason they gave a hefty offer to Robert Saleh to be the defensive coordinator and then be the heir to Carroll. But I think you just drop Pete and pick up Saleh next offseason because like I said, with what he's done with the defense of the Niners, especially with the injuries, I mean, he's just been a brilliant coach. I just think he was set up to fail in New York. New York didn't do him much favors. He had Zach Wilson as his quarterback.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely think they should go for Robert Saleh as head coach because they're
I,
gonna need
I
it.
would I would think that's that guy's pretty high up on my wish list if I had one. That's a defensive coordinator. We've seen him be very successful with the 49ers. He would go into a similar situation like he did with the Jets though, because the Raiders have so many needs. I guess the upside would be the Raiders have the first pick or the second pick or something like that to maybe make it a little bit more enticing to go to the Raiders. I mean, you do have Max Crosby on that side, and if anybody's going to know how to build and put some key players around Max Crosby on that defensive side, it would be Robert Saleh. But yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's kind of already written there like this. 2-12. This is uh, you know 5 coaches since they moved to Las Vegas. This is not. I'm sure this was not ideal, but they're just playing worse and worse every single year. Just horrible football, and it's just tough to watch. I mean, I didn't watch any of this game only because well, there's the 31-0 said it all. That's what that was my feeling when they going into that game was like I don't think they're going to do anything. And then Kenny Pickett was our backup. He was the quarterback, and I don't know what did he throw 100 yards or I
I
didn't
don't
look
know.
at
Like
his
I said, I think
stats.
we had 75 total yards of offense. I don't know.
Sixty-four yards.
If I was Mark Davis, I probably would have fired the coaching staff right after that game. I wouldn't even give them the press conference after. I would have just fired them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be old school Al
it
Davis too. I mean,
it's
that's
been
what
a
he would
yeah.
do.
I mean, at one point that's enough, right? It's just nothing. If they put up they put up no points. That's just the frustrating part. But
And that's the for me. Like, remember we've talked about this several times that I don't want no more of these guys the second chance. I know Robert Saleh this would be, but he's a young enough coach, and I don't think he was given long enough. Pete Carroll's already done, you know, multiple years at Seattle, and he's coached at the college level for multiple, for a
yeah,
bunch of years. He's 74 years old, so he's coached for a little
he's
while,
old.
right?
Yeah,
Um, so I mean, Salah, I think he's still young and upcoming, but that's who I'm looking for, someone young, upcoming, and you hear a lot of like who the Raiders for the search, who are they looking for? And I mean, yeah, Salah was one guy on the list. There's another guy on the list too. I know they were all field goals for the Seattle Seahawks this past weekend, but Clint Kubiak is the
yeah, the
offensive
offensive coordinator.
coordinator.
Yeah,
He's a young guy. He's 38. That's right around the age where I believe they hired Gruden for his first tenure with the Raiders. He was a young guy coming up, and I think Clint Kubiak's coming from his dad Gary Kubiak. He was a former player, former head coach of the Texans and the Broncos as well. Offensive minded there, so we got. I would something like that, young, up and coming. Maybe he's got some new, some ideas that maybe take the Raiders into the new era. But I wouldn't be mad with Salah either. The Salah's like a guy. I don't think we really had like a defensive coordinator in quite some time. I know we had Jack Del Rio, um, who he was more of a defensive coordinator, but I'm just drawing a blank. I think that's probably about it. Everybody
Pete's a
else has been,
defensive guy.
or they had a. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, not this year.
Yeah, not this
He's
year.
not offensive. He's not an offensive guy either.
Yeah,
He has his sons are offensive running back coach and quarterback coaches, and
they
it's
got
like
one offensive line
those
coach.
are
I don't
our
know what the
worst
other one is.
positions.
Yeah, yeah, but
So,
that's enough for the
anyways,
Raiders.
yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see the offseason. But moving on to Week 16 predictions: Rams, Seahawks, Thursday Night Football. I know the Colts are a pretty good team. I know they've been struggling. They've lost. Obviously, the Seahawks did get the win, but they put up no offensive. I mean, they put up 18 field goal. I mean, 6 field goals. I don't think that's sustainable against the Rams. I'm gonna go with the Rams. Thursday Night Football. I think they win this game. I think they lock down the division. Maybe not. They're both 11-3. I think the Rams do win though. I just think. Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
the
this is a
Seahawks
tough
can
one.
afford to
Well,
just score 6 field goals on them.
yeah, they are going to need more than that. Although those six field goals they were pretty money those field goals, but I think I do agree they're going to need Sam Darnold. Maybe Clint Kubiak draws up something to you know cements his talk about being a head coach with this game here and draw something up to upset the Rams. The spread shows 1.5 for the Rams, so it's like even Vegas is not too sure which way to go on this one. Um, you know what? I'm going to take that Rams. It all depends. Like I saw Nakua go down, and you said Adams went down as well.
Yeah.
If
Oh,
those two
Nakua did go
guys,
down. Yeah.
if those two weapons are not there for Matthew Stafford, I'm taking Seahawks. So maybe that's why they're waiting for the injury list to see how this spread changes. But I'm going to take Seahawks on a Thursday night at home.
All right, and then we got another division matchup. Packers Bears. These games are on Saturday. Oh, I forgot. Oh, we got a couple games on Saturday.
Oh yeah.
Eagles Commanders. That's gonna be an easy one for me. The Eagles. And then Packers Bears. Primetime Saturday night. I'm gonna go with the Bears. With Micah out. With a couple injuries to the wide receivers to the Packers. I'm gonna go with the Bears. Think last time they were one play away from tying the game, potentially winning it. I'm gonna go with the Bears. I think with the loss of Micah, kind of, I don't want to say ends their hopes of winning the Super Bowl, but that is a brutal blow this late in the year.
Yeah, it is huge. I mean, when I saw that he went down and he kind of went down on his own, like most of those injuries happen, right? They just all of a sudden grab grab the leg and then go down kind of thing. Um, for me, I know you're with the Broncos. Are they for reals? Are the Bears for reals in the first year of Ben Johnson? I mean, I know they're playing really good football. It's kind of I don't
Um,
think I've watched them enough.
I
Um,
have their defense is pretty good. Offense is sometimes hit or miss. I said they weren't, and then I believe who did they beat? They beat. I'm trying to think who they beat when I said they weren't legit. I'm blanking.
Either way, this is a huge game, huge
Yeah,
implications, right, for the NFC North. Um, yeah, this one here, and it looks like Vegas is not sure on this one either. 1.5 point spread, going Green Bay's way. Um, I'm going to take the Packers to bounce back. I'm taking the Packers to bounce back. Um, Jordan Love has a better game than he did, last weekend, and so I'll take them over the Bears to humble them.
all right, yeah. Um, and then we have, oh no, okay, that's Saturday. So then Sunday, a couple other big matchups: Bucks Panthers. There we go. That's a big division game. I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I think they're
Oh,
after. I mean, Panthers to me are too unpredictable, and I think the Bucks they desperately need to win, especially at this past week. I mean, I don't think they could afford to lose again. I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I think the Bucks will win, take the division lead, um, and hopefully, get themselves in the playoffs. Because ultimately, I do
yeah,
think they're the better team than the Panthers.
yeah, and I'm pulling for the Panthers. These last couple of weeks, I've been pulling for the Panthers so they could, get themselves in the playoffs, and that they have drawing a blank on his name, but they have a young coach over there that um, when he was handed the keys, he had kind of a mess there too, and it's like most of the head coaching jobs, you have to rebuild, and I was going for pulling for him to win and to eke out this victory over the Buccaneers. I'll take the Panthers.
All right. Some other big matchups like we talked about: Jaguars, Broncos. Everyone's telling me I should root for the Broncos, so I guess I'll get. I think, like I said, if the Jaguars win, then obviously, it'd be big for the Jaguars. They started the year 4-4, and I believe I won 6 straight. But I'm gonna go with the Broncos. Everyone's saying they're legit, so I'll root for them this time. We'll see if they hold up. If not, then I'm gonna have to jump back off the train if they don't win. But I'll go
Yeah,
with the Broncos for this one. I think the dominant Jaguars have been playing really well. Offense just put up 48 points against the Jets. So I'll go with the Broncos, but we'll see.
Yeah, it looks like I'm going with the Broncos as well. I think the Jaguars, they've won actually five in a row, and they're playing really well. But I just think that they're running into a very hot team right now, the Denver Broncos, and they're clicking on defense, clicking on offense. Um, yeah, I just think they're going to continue winning this. It'll be a good game. I think it'll be another good game, but eventually they'll force Trevor Lawrence into some bad throws there, like they've been doing to every quarterback, on the defensively. So I think the Broncos.
In another big game, Steelers Lions. Steelers currently hold the NFC AFC North position, but the Lions sit in the wild card. I think this is a big game. I got the Lions winning. I think they're gonna give themselves a shot to make it to the playoffs. I have the Lions beating the Steelers. Um, that's at Sunday at 1 o'clock. And then before I let you answer that, I'm gonna go to the next game because that's also kind of connected with the Steelers. Ravens Patriots. I know the Patriots are playing good. They did just lose that one to the Bills. I'm gonna go with the Ravens. I think the Ravens desperately need a big time win. I think they'll get this win. Lions will beat the Steelers, and I think the Ravens will jump back up top in the division for the playoff spot.
Yeah, it's still the Ravens still have hope after the start of their year where they looked like they had no hope, but now they're still hanging in there. And I just don't. The Steelers, I'm not really sold on the way they're playing football right now. I think even if they squeak in there, they're just going to be an easy out for whoever they play. And maybe I'll be wrong on that, but as of right now, I just yeah, I'm taking the Lions over the Steelers. And I would hope the Ravens at home, play some good football against the Patriots, but Patriots get back on track. I think they pull it out and they beat the Ravens at home.
Yeah, and then
4-3.
yeah, and then Monday Night Football we got Niners Colts. Obviously, Philip Rivers most likely to be the starter again. Normally I would go with the Niners 'cause I feel like this would be an easy win for them, but I'm a rock with the Colts. I know the Niners came off a hot win against the Titans. The offense was firing on all cylinders. I'm gonna go. The Seahawks also have a really good offense, and the Colts defense held them down. So I'm gonna go with the Colts. I think Philip Rivers, after a week of training, a week of trying to get in shape, I think he'll lead them to a big win over the Niners to keep them alive in the playoff
How many
chances.
years has he been out? Has it been 5 years?
I believe so.
Philip
It's
Rivers,
four or five.
5 years. He's not 1 week. No, he needs more time. He needs more than 1 week and 3 days or whatever it is. I'm taking the Niners. They're going to rough them up. Colts have just a brutal schedule down the stretch, and I think where are they at in the standings here? They're hanging on to their spot as well, but they're eighth spot right now, and I think they have another loss coming up against the Niners. So see how that goes.
Yeah, and then we basically covered all the news, NFL wise is basically all the injury news, that we covered. But moving on to the NBA, right? Currently, right now, the NBA Cup is going on the championship. Spurs Knicks.
Oh,
Knicks are currently
yeah.
winning 97-94. It is the fourth
Wow.
quarter with 10 minutes left. They're on an 8-0 run to start the quarter. Um, but going into the standings, in the East, Pistons lead the 21-5. Playing great ball, still looking great. Up, Following them up is the Knicks at the 2 seed. They're 18-7. Like I said, they're currently playing in the NBA Cup. Um, Trying to get that 19th win. Followed in them is the Raptors at 16-11. The Celtics at 15-11. The Magic at 15-11. 76ers are the 6th seed at 14-11, and then both the Cavs and the Hawks are 15-2 at the 7th and 8th seed. Heat have fallen all the way down to the 9th seed. However, they are 14-2, and they are looking to obviously in the current playing spot, but they're obviously looking to get into the top six. But Bucks currently 11-16. They are the 10th seed, and it's not looking good. Giannis every day it looks like he's gonna get traded. Some teams are looking at him.
Yeah.
We'll kind of waiting and seeing. But
When
yeah,
is when is this trading deadline? Let's see.
it's February. It's the weekend of All Star break, so it's February
Okay, so
20
that's
something.
February, like Valentine's Day or something like
So
that.
yeah, something like that.
I did a quick February 5th. I did a quick AI
Oh,
overview here. Google 2026 NBA trade deadline is okay. So I mean, let's see what's out there. I mean,
I think
I'm
he
a
gets
Warrior fan
traded.
here. I
I think
think
he gets traded.
yeah, it's
I always said, I know they won the title, but I always said him signing that extension with Milwaukee would be the biggest mistake of his career, and so far it has been. They haven't won nothing since the title. Obviously, the title is enough, but a player like Giannis, he wants to win more. And I knew him signing that extension, they were not gonna win any more than that one title, and that's just kind of what has happened so far. Now he's not happy. There he's looking to get out of Milwaukee. Now the question is, where is he going to? I mean, there's a lot of teams. I think every team would love Giannis. It's
Yeah.
just of who can give the right package. Who the Bucks ultimately want. But another surprise, I keep saying, it's the Celtics, right? They're missing Jason Tatum. They lost all those players in the offseason. I said this last week. They're the fourth seed. They're playing great ball. Jason Tatum's trying to get back out on the court, so we'll see if he'll join the team later down the road. But yeah, Celtics are give themselves in a good position. Um, Knicks currently, like I said, battling in the cup. But yeah, I mean, East could have a mixture of teams in that
Yeah,
in that playoff scenario.
Knicks, who started off a little, a little slow there, but they've come on since with 5 wins in a row, moved all the way up to the second seed, playing for the cup, like you said, and I think they have the lead right now. It's a small lead, um, but yeah, no, I like the Knicks. I think they go to the finals. I think they need to build. They're going to build off of last year they had an early exit that they weren't they didn't want to take, and who was that? The Pacers. Pacers did that to everybody. So, but yeah, there's
Yeah.
some newer teams here like that are getting better. The Pistons, Raptors are still surprisingly there. The Celtics, like you mentioned, with all the injuries, are still there. Um, Orlando Magic. So yeah, there'll be some tough competition there, but I think ultimately the Knicks represent the East in the finals.
All right, you go with the. I think the Pistons are. I think the Pistons will end up representing. This is a really early final prediction, but I think the Pistons will come out the East. Moving on to the West, obviously Thunder 24-2. They lost. And they lost to the Spurs, and that's the one thing. That's what I want to talk about right now. In the NBA Cup, the semifinals were Spurs, Thunder. Wemby was returning for this game. Or Wembenyama was returning for this game. He was on a minute restriction. I believe he only played about 20 minutes. However, he dominated those 20 minutes, and he was the difference maker of the game. I mean, every time he subbed in, they went on a 10-0 run. And came down to the wire, but the Spurs pulled it out. They played the foul game. So the final 30 seconds that ended up being like 10 plus minutes. But they ended up getting the win. Thunder's fans were upset 'cause they thought Alex Caruso was fouled at the end after he was fouling players all game long. Um, but the one thing I want to talk about is, they added the new unnatural shooting motion rule, right? When the players can't kick out their feet and whatnot.
Yeah,
However, they're not officiating it correctly. I watched in that game Shea go up for a mid-range jumper, and his body was like this. His feet were out in front of his body. There
yeah,
was no shot, even if I believe it was Dylan Harper. Even if Dylan Harper's feet weren't kind of in the landing zone where his feet were kicked out to, he would not have landed upright. He would have fell to the floor. And he got the foul call. And then instead of reviewing it for an awkward shooting motion or an unnatural shooting motion, they reviewed it for a flagrant foul, and I just couldn't believe it because I
oh
watched the
yeah,
other
okay,
day Jimmy Butler got called for the unnatural shooting motion just because he left his right foot out. He left his right foot out sticking out for a little too long,
right.
and they called that unnatural. I ended up changing it to a no foul on Jimmy, but I just couldn't believe the officiating. They gave Shea the two free throws, and I'm not trying to discredit Shea. He's a phenomenal basketball player. He's so good. He's got a great mid range, great step back 3-point shot. But he just gets these petty points from free throws, and the refs just give them to him, and
Yeah,
it's not fun to watch. He's
he,
beautiful. I love watching him when he's playing ethical basketball, but when he's just getting these floppy, terrible foul calls and getting the free throw line, it's boring to watch. It sucks to watch because he's such a great hooper.
yeah, he's become a master of that too. I mean,
Yeah,
he's just become he knows almost what the refs are going to look for to make the calls, and he's doing it nightly, and he's getting what 10 plus free throws a game, and yeah, he's reminding me of I know Chris Paul was really good at that too. He was good at just getting to the free throw line at whenever you needed
Chris
a
Paul,
bucket. You know,
James Harden, yeah.
yeah, James Harden. You know, and maybe right now with the refs, you know, Shea, maybe he's already. It's kind of young in his career, right? Maybe instead of the Jordan rules like Michael Jordan had back then, he got the Shea rules where he's going to go ahead and get. You know, you barely touch him and he gets foul call. But yeah, I'm not going to take anything away from them. They're just an unbelievable team. When I saw that they lost this game, and I was like, oh, they lost, you
Yeah.
know, because they're looking pretty darn good to beat that Warriors record that they had of 73-9. And for me being a Warriors fan, I feel like I don't know if you ever seen the 1972 Dolphins. Like that was the only NFL undefeated team. So every time the team that's undefeated loses, they start drinking champagne, they start partying, you know, because they're still Dolphins are still the only team to have done that. That's how I felt when there was a victory. I was like, oh, they lost, cool.
Yeah.
Just
No,
get some more
yeah,
losses.
I was rooting for the Spurs, and that's been a big debate that's come up. It was like I believe it was the 2025 Thunder versus the 2017 Warriors. The Warriors with KD. Um, and people are trying to argue that the Thunder would win this series. Dude, the Warriors would sweep them in four, maybe five. They might give them a gentleman sweep, but there's no shot that this current Thunder's team would beat the 2017 Warriors. I mean, you have prime Steph Curry, prime Kevin Durant, prime Klay Thompson, Defensive Player of the Year Draymond Green. You think you're gonna beat those four guys? They went to 7 games against an injured Indianapolis Pacers team. It took a Halliburton torn Achilles for them to win that game 7. And the
Yeah, yeah,
people want to
yeah.
debate that the
But
2025 Thunder would beat the 2017 Warriors. That's just
people
unbelievable
are
to
going
me.
to do this all the time. They're going to do it all the time, and it's just so funny. Because you didn't even mention, MVP Iguodala coming off the bench. Like, I mean,
Yeah, Finals MVP. Yeah, I mean, if it was the 2015-2016 Warriors, I would say, okay, maybe, yeah, you know what, maybe the Thunder would win that series. But the 2017 Warriors, they were
no,
unstoppable.
that's a tough one because they've even debated that one against the Bulls, right? Like, what is it, 95, 96 Bulls? Um, you know, with the who would win in that? And I'm still wow. I mean, I know I'm biased here, but I know Ron Harper. Well, we have Kevin Durant. You got Scottie Pippen. We got Klay Thompson. You got Michael Jordan. We
Exactly.
got Steph Curry.
You got Dennis
Then you
Rodman,
go
we have Draymond Green.
right, right. This is going to be a hell of a battle. I mean, I've heard them
Yeah,
argue this before, and I just think we have a lot more Hall of Famers on our team there, and um, just that team. Even Sean Livingston coming off the
yep,
bench there.
off
I
the
mean, that's
bench.
you know, I forget how far it goes for the what do you call it for the Bulls there, but then you have
They got
Steve
Tony
Kerr.
Kukoc,
Tony Kukoc. Yeah, he was supposed to be
Steve
the
Kerr.
what is he,
Yeah,
Italian Jordan or something like that. I forgot where he's from. Croatian. I think he was
yeah,
Croatian.
Croatia.
There you go. So I'm off there, but um, yeah, it's always just good to talk about. I mean, obviously, maybe in a video game we could do this. Go on NBA
2K.
2K and put the
Yeah,
teams in and see how
I yeah,
that.
I've always thought the only team that could probably win the series against that 2017 Warriors one of the teams with Kobe and Shaq, because Shaq was dominant and the Warriors never really had a big dominant big man during those years. Those were that would be like one of the only teams, one of the championship Lakers with Kobe and Shaq. That would be one of the teams that could probably maybe beat that 2017 Warriors.
Yeah, it's a good thing that the Warriors changed that because remember it always was the big man. If you had the big man, you feed it into the big man and he'll dominate. He'll take control like Shaq. I know people were trying to get a big man for a while, and then obviously the Warriors changed the way the game's played. With just shooting from the outside, shooting threes, and so yeah, no, it's always interesting what people end up saying, but yeah, OKC, yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think you're beating the Warriors on that,
Yeah, no.
especially when Chef Curry's in his prime.
Yeah, not unanimous MVP Steph Curry. But yeah, and that's another thing with the Thunder is they're able to play a lot of physical ball nowadays, and they don't get called fouls on it. I remember that happened a lot during the finals last year. I remember there was one specific clip of Kason Wallace just holding on to T.J. McConnell's hand. No foul was called. But yeah, Alex Crusoe was mad that he didn't get to his little foul call because the guy had his hands on him. But yeah, they're able to play physical ball and not get called for him while other teams can barely touch Shea, and then boom,
Yeah,
they'll get free throws. But
play
yeah,
play that series that the Rockets and Warriors played
oh
last
yeah,
year.
dude, Thunder would
That
have
was
died
insane.
if the
That
Rockets
was
played the
like
Thunder and it was just like how it was last year.
yeah
I would have probably taken the Rockets to win because the Thunder
yeah.
probably would have couldn't have handled it physically.
No, physicality there was just on another level. Like people were saying, this back to '90s basketball. Elbows, headlocks, flagrants, tacks. You name it. That was in that. And then the next series, they ended up, making it right and said, okay, that was a little too physical. Let's get back to basketball because
Yeah,
that was some that was some insane ball. Real physical series. But yeah, I agree. I don't think OKC would. They haven't been tested like that yet. Not that I know of. I don't think
yeah,
they've
no.
been tested physically like that with against a defensive minded team.
Yeah, no, they haven't. But yeah, following the 24-2 Thunder is the 19-6 Nuggets. They're the second seed. Lakers are 18-7. Spurs are also 18-7. They're the fourth seed. Rockets drop down to the fifth seed. They're 16-7. Timberwolves are 17-9. Followed by the 14-2 Suns. The 13-14 Warriors are the eighth seed. And man, the Warriors are just wasting prime. I say prime Steph Curry because he's technically still is the 30 soon to be 38-year-old is still putting up 50 points. I mean, he had 48 points against the Blazers and they lost.
Yeah,
And changes need to be made. I think
yeah,
they should go for Giannis. You know, Jonathan Kuminga's getting DNPs. Butler's getting paid 60 million to put up 16 points. I mean, that's just unbelievable. I think they ship uh, Kuminga, Buddy, um, and Jimmy and a first to Milwaukee for Giannis because you got Seth Curry, who's a 3-point specialist. He's getting denied plays as well. You got Will Richard, the rookie's been playing great. He's getting DNPs. Um, you got guys that are just willing or deserving of more playing time, but you don't have enough minutes. And I think if you ship those three guys in a first, I think the Bucks would eat it up. Either that, or I would love for them to go after Zubac from the Clippers. Clippers are a really bad team. They could use a young guy like Kaminga. I would take Zubac or I was playing 2K with my buddies the other night, and we were becoming the GM of the Warriors, and we traded for Bam Adebayo from the Heat, and we had acquired a couple other guys. It was a little unrealistic, but the Warriors
yeah.
did definitely they gotta make some moves. And Curry's got to stop throwing out three lineup, but he's got to stop throwing up a lineup with Curry, Pajemski, and Buddy. I don't know why Buddy is in a lineup with Curry and Pods. It's just blowing my mind, but yeah.
Yeah, I think Kerr. I think he's even said it like this is his most difficult year of coaching, and he's just as disappointed as everybody is. Everybody is in regards to the way that the games are the playing. He's having difficulties putting in a final lineup too. Like you say, he puts Pajetsky in there, and he puts in yeah. I know Post has been playing real good, but once you see him getting uh, bullied around. You gotta what do
You don't
you
have a
gotta
backup big. You don't have a backup big.
That's true. Yeah, that's why the names everybody you name there. I mean, I'm not mad at all. I do think you do something to. I don't know if they have enough to go after Giannis, and
Yeah, I don't know.
but
I don't think they do.
you can go for it. And with this management team and ownership, I think they are gonna make a run. I mean, they've already tried to make a run at him before he even signed that big contract, and I think they go all in again. And
Yeah,
I
they
think
traded.
it.
Yeah, they traded for
So I
Jimmy
was gonna
last
say
year.
it's all but over with the Kaminga project.
Yeah,
I mean, now these
yeah,
having healthy DMPs. It's just a matter of time that February, what was it, February 5th or whatever it was, the trading deadline, and we'll see what happens.
yeah. But they had to wait till the 15th of January to trade Kuminga just because that's part of his contract. But yeah, they traded for Jimmy last year. They looked like they were gonna have a nice shot to try to win until Steph, obviously got injured. This year's look completely different. They haven't dominated like they did last year with Jimmy. So I think they
Yeah.
got to move on from Jimmy. I think they need something new. Like you said, they might probably don't have the right assets for Giannis. However, they can get a couple other guys. Like I said, the Zubac could do
Yeah.
some, um, could be huge for them. And they could get a couple other guys, but yeah, they're gonna if they could trade Kaminga and get Zubac, and they have Zubac in the starting lineup, and they could keep Jimmy, then yeah, now they got a threatening lineup, and you got Post off the bench. But as of right now, they just don't have enough.
Or even
And
The Sacramento Kings guy. I don't know if he's still available, right?
Sabonis, I would
Sabonis.
love him too, but I just, after Draymond stomped on his chest a few years ago, I don't know how well that would work.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right. Hey, well, they come together to play some team basketball and win games, and yeah, I mean, it might be all right, but it's all business.
yeah, it is,
No hard
but
feelings.
yeah, so the Warriors are right there. They are a game above the Grizzlies for the eighth seed, but that is our standings currently in the NBA Cup game. About 5 minutes left. Knicks are up 110 to 105 on the Spurs. So um this episode we'll probably stop. We'll probably end before this game ends, but we'll try to keep you updated until the end. But moving on to the MLB, obviously free agency, a lot has gone on. Angels making some moves. They signed both Jordan Romano and Drew Pomeranz to 1-year deals for their bullpen. Chris Martin reaches a 1-year deal to return to the Rangers. Giants adding what's his name? Adrian Hauser to a 2-year deal. They also add Jason Foley to the bullpen. They expect him to be healthy mid-season. Um, who else? Oh yes, Caleb Theobar returns to the Cubs on a 1-year deal. Hassan Kim returns to the Braves on a 1-year deal. The Mets sign Jorge Polanco to a 2-year deal to try to replace Pete Alonso, who went to the Baltimore Orioles. Um, and then the last, another big news: Adolis Garcia finalizes a 1-year deal with the Phillies. So a lot of teams are going in. So there's been suspected trade rumors between the Padres and the Mets. Nothing's gone down yet. Um, but yeah, it's still pretty young in MLB free agency. A lot of big name free agents still available. A lot of guys that could be traded. A lot of teams are making look trades. But we'll keep you updated on that. But that is all for today. Like I said, NBA Cup still going on, so hopefully everyone's watching it. Still 110 to 105. But thank you all for tuning in. I'd like to thank my co-host, my uncle, for joining me today. Um, don't forget we're on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify. Um, one last time, thank you all for listening. And until next time, stay ready.